brought to you by your always sunny Honda dealers of San Diego County. Not always sunny here. Obviously, we've already had a rain delay. This game was supposed to start about a half an hour ago. It will begin late, of course, but the forecast the rest of this afternoon here in New York, it's not ideal necessarily. Mark Mcneil, it's not terrible either. It could be a lot worse. And in fact, the forecast a couple of days ago for this afternoon was rain all day long. So I feel pretty good that we're going to get this thing started.
Yeah, when we first got here for the New York Mets, this was one of the games that they were worried about because it looked like it was going to rain all day long. So if they get this in today, that would be a good sign. Absolutely.
On the hill for the Padres, Clayton Richard, rough one his last time. We kind of always know what we're going to get, at least most of the time with Clayton, the left-hander. He's going to work quickly. He's going to get his ground balls, and more often than not, he's going to keep you in the game.
Well, I think both of these pitchers today are going to work quickly, which is very good because Clayton Richard, to me, has not had his mechanics right. Hopefully, in between starts was pretty important, setting him right, because I think that's going to be pretty important. Watch his glove side command today. That's going to be one of those keys for how he stays in that rhythm, because when he's not throwing strikes, it slows down, and you understand why.
Clayton Richard is a big left-hander, 6'5", 240 pounds. That is Corey Oswalt. He is a big right-hander, 6'5", 250 pounds. And the 24-year-old from San Diego making his 5th Major League start. For the first time, he gets an opportunity to face his hometown team.
Well, that's got to be exciting for him. Grew up 10 miles away from Petco Park. So this is going to be emotionally going for Oswalt, which I think is pretty important.
Padre lineup brought to you by your San Diego County Toyota dealers. Travis Jankowski back in the starting lineup. He was off in last night's game. Asuaje batting second again with Myers third. Will has been red hot in the month of July. He's had a great series here in New York. Hosmer, Margot, Galvis in the middle with Christian Villanueva at third base. Austin Hedges catching a 3rd consecutive game, and Clayton Richard out on the mound. So there is the starting pitcher, the Madison High Warhawk, Corey Oswalt. So what do we know? He's big, he's right-handed, he works quickly.
And 24 years old, so he's not going to be 25 until September, and coming off a very good start. And only allowed 4 earned runs in the last 2 starts, including a 1-hit performance against the Phillies. And pace of play, as we talked about, both pitchers are going to try to set that tone early in this game.
He's been up and down a couple of times this year between the big leagues and AAA. Met defense brought to you by your San Diego Cadillac dealers.
Well, we're going to focus on Armand Rosario, the shortstop. He's had a very good series, but we're going to go with the outfield. Conforto, Nimmo, and Bautista in the outfield. Reyes, Rosario, Cabrera, and Flores in the infield. Plouffe gets a start after a night game.
Mets do not have a day off tomorrow as the Padres do. They'll open up a 4-game series at PNC Park in Jankowski's home state of Pennsylvania. So they go with the backup catcher today. Padres with the day off tomorrow. Figure might as well give Austin Hedges another crack at it. He can rest up. He's young. He'll be fine. And I think that's kind of the big lineup news of the day. It isn't much. Teams are split. First 2 games of this series. Padres a 3-2 win over Mickey Callaway's Mets on Monday night, and then last night a 6-3 victory for New York. Zach Wheeler was really good in his 7 innings of work.
You know, really benefited from the play that determined the game, in my opinion. Andy Green understood that was a turning point for that game, but Wheeler was excellent.
So Travis steps in, and we are ready to go. As mentioned, just about a half hour late. Game originally scheduled to start at 12:10 Eastern time. So what now? It's 12:46. My math says that is a 36-minute delay. Does that work?
That works.
Does that calculate properly? Hey, a fastball that isn't 97 miles per hour. First time we've seen that from a Mets starter in this series, and it's 1-0 on Jankowski. There is more weather on the way. It's one of those things. You can't worry about it down on the field. It'll be what it'll be. Managers could have decisions to make when it comes to the pitching staffs, but this is the reality of summer baseball in much of the non-Southern California portion of the country.
Well, you don't worry about it, but offensively, you might be a little more aggressive. Andy Green might push the element.
Jankowski strikes out, and a good start for Oswalt in his first start against his hometown team.
Well, it's not going to be velocity, as you touched on, Jesse. It has a lot to do with location. He's going to try to mix speeds. It's a 4-pitch pitcher. See the fastball up and away, getting above the barrel for Jankowski. Fastball, cutter, curveball, slider, and change.
Carlos Asuaje now, who has started at second base and hit second in all 3 games of this series. Picked up a walk in last night's game and looking for his first hit here in New York. It was 3 for 9 in the Philadelphia series as the Padres wrap up this road trip before returning home. Mentioned have an off day tomorrow. Then the Diamondbacks come in for 3 over the weekend. And then a couple of games with the Giants Monday night, Tuesday afternoon. In the air left field, Michael Conforto homered last night. He makes that catch. And 2 away in the top of the first inning. You have already alluded to it, the play from last night. Will Myers base hit into left field. 1 run had already scored. Manuel Margot called out. On replay, that would be overturned, and the Padres would get the 2nd run. But after the out call, Asuaje tagged for what was in essence a 4th out of the inning. Andy Green and Asuaje both questioned that determination by the umpires, not only here in Queens, but across the river in Manhattan, the guys in the replay room, because they felt that Asuaje should have been put back on second base. It did change things significantly. You had Eric Hosmer coming up. Instead, the inning was over.
Frustrating situation for the Padres, but it really has to do with just moving forward from that. Nothing you can do now. It did affect the game last night.
Oswalt's last one, as Mark said, July 15th against the Nationals. Only a run on 2 hits in 5 innings. Didn't walk anybody. Struck out 1. And 2-2 on Will Myers. Will drove in all 3 Padre runs in last night's game and is 4 for 8 in the first 2 games of this series at Citi Field. Oswalt was the Mets Double-A Pitcher of the Year last year at Binghamton, and Myers stings this one to right. Bautista has had an adventurous series, but he makes the play, and a 1-2-3 top of the first for Oswalt. In New York, Mets coming to bat, and Ahmed Rosario getting ready to start things off. Met lineup brought to you by your San Diego County Ford dealers, Cabrera and Flores. To follow here in the first inning, middle three, Flores, Bautista, Conforto. Catcher Plouffe, Nimmo, and Jose Reyes back in the starting lineup hitting eighth. Corey Oswalt 0 for 4 in his big league career.
Now Clayton Richard, the scouting report, 8th road start in the last 9 starts. It's pretty impressive, and it's a bounce back start for him, and not very good against the Phillies. Also, his last 4 starts, 18 walks. And as I said earlier, glove side command is going to be pretty important with that fastball slider combination.
Yeah, those walks, those are the main things I've noticed as of late for Clayton. Villanueva playing in and routine to get the speedy Rosario. 1 away in the bottom of the first inning.
The Padre defense, if we take a look at it, we mentioned Carlos Asuaje, only 1 error in 354 innings. Will Myers in left, Manuel Margot in center, Travis Jankowski in right, Villanueva, as we just saw, Freddie Galvis at shortstop, Asuaje and Hosmer on the right side. Austin Hedges catches Clayton Richard, who's looking for his first win here at Citi Field.
Richard has lost each of his last 4 starts against the Mets. In his career, 9 starts against New York, 2-5 with an ERA a touch over 4. And he delivers strike 1 to a guy who seems to have had his number over the years. Cabrera, good veteran player. 8 for 16 lifetime against Richard, including 5 doubles.
Well, we always hear sample size, which probably drives me crazy because you never know what those hits are, but when you think of 5 doubles in 8 hits, that's seeing the guy.
And generally,
4 RBIs along with that.
I see those numbers more as notable than predictive. Doesn't necessarily mean anything right here and right now. Sends it in the air right field. Travis Jankowski is rangy, and he makes a nice leaping catch before crashing into that right field wall. Nicely done by Travis. Best defensive outfielders in this Padres system.
You know, saw him in Philadelphia make a nice catch at the wall playing center field with the awareness. Watch him peek as we take a look at the swing of Cabrera. You can see he sees Clayton Richard very well. He peeks at the wall, the awareness of where he's at and jumping and going into that mesh fence. Here's the peek right there. Flash look.
And beautifully done. Another ground ball to Villanueva, and a quick bottom of the first inning for Clayton Richard. He likes his ground balls. He gets 2 in the first. And Clayton Richard working 1-2-3 first innings. And so Eric Hosmer will lead off here against the 24-year-old San Diegan. Oswald last year at AA Binghamton, 24 starts. He went 12-5 with a 2.28 ERA. He was the Eastern League Pitcher of the Year.
Very good minor league numbers, as you alluded to.
Hard hit by Hosmer and threw for a base hit. Three straight games, Hosmer has singled in his first at bat against the Mets. Manuel Margot stepping in. Time for the Kia drive to success. And in 10 career games against the Mets, 18 hits for Manuel Margot, including a couple of homers.
We talked about the M&M brothers, and that's Manuel Margot feeling comfortable against the Mets, but also he's been making some very good adjustments offensively.
We always talk about these random guys who are Padre killers. It's nice to see a Padre being a Met killer move in the other direction.
Also nice to see Manuel Margot get back to what he was doing last year. Looked like he was trying to lift the ball too much.
He's hitting 6 straight, making 7. Base hit Margot. Hosmer is going to try and go first to third. He will do so without a play. Good aggressive base running by Eric Hosmer, and the Padres are set up here in the second inning.
Well, because of those good numbers, Andy Green inserts Manuel Margot in the 5th spot. Early hitting, down and in, and going the other way. That's handling the barrel of the bat. He continues to stay hot.
So the Padres with runners on the corners and nobody out here in the top of the second inning. Freddie Galvis stands in. Galvis hitting .236, the 4 homers, getting on base at a .295 clip. Had back-to-back 3-hit games in his return to Philadelphia over the weekend. Oswald certainly thinking about Manuel Margot over at first base. Margot has stolen 9 bags this year. Gallo's been driving in a lot of runs as of late, now behind no balls and 2 strikes.
You know, Jesse, early in this game, the Padres have to set a tone. The reason why I say that, Oswald on the mound, a young pitcher, want to try to get in his mind mentally, try to challenge him early in this game.
Just got a piece and stays alive.
Manny Margot has the green light. Skip Schumacher in his ear going over the signs of Glenn Hoffman, the third base coach.
Here's Hoffy. He'll be headed to Cooperstown this weekend, understandably. 1-2 to Galvis. Andy Green has sort of hinted, I think, that Josh Johnson from the Padre coaching staff will be doing the coaching at third base, while Glenn is with his brother and family in Cooperstown. I believe actually Glenn is going to fly back to California, pick up their mom, and fly back to New York with her for the weekend. Here's a ground ball to Cabrera and a double play. Padres do get a run, and they take a 1-0 lead here in the top of the second inning. Take a look at the keys to the game, brought to you by your San Diego Honda dealers.
Well, Clayton has already silenced Cabrera once in this game. Good numbers against him, as we alluded to earlier, and make it 18 for the Mets. They have not won a series in 17 series, and also 2-6 in rubber games. Padres have to take this series and head home.
Really is amazing. Mets swept the Diamondbacks here in mid-May. Haven't won a series since. They've lost 11, split 6.
That's hard to do.
Yes, it is. Even when you're struggling, even when you're beat up, and they are. A lot of injuries. one shy of the team record for most consecutive series without a win. After the run-scoring double play, they're empty for Villanueva, and Christian will just get a piece of that thing. Loecki, the catcher, couldn't hold the tip. Ball and 2 strikes on the Padre third baseman. Oswalt making the start with Noah Syndergaard on the disabled list. Syndergaard came down with that hand, foot, mouth virus after working with some kids during the All-Star break, so an opportunity for Oswalt.
It's a new one for me.
Very
odd.
Yeah, you don't hear it in baseball very often. You hear it in daycare. Backhanded nicely by Jose Reyes at third base. And a good stretch by Flores to end the second. Padres get one, though, and lead in the second.
A 1-0 lead over the Mets after an inning and a half, and as Clayton Richard goes out for his second inning of work, something to keep an eye on is his head and how quickly he is picking up his target. 18 walks in the last 4 outings. That's very un-Clayton-like. He's been trying to make the adjustment, and finally he sat down and realized, look, I'm having a lot of walks with runners on first base and out of the windup. And if you watch his windup position when he first starts, he's actually looking at first base. And what he finally concluded is he was picking up his target too late. So we'll see if he can make that adjustment, pick up the target a little sooner, and get back in that zone.
It's another ground ball here, Scans, and that's the name of the game with Clayton Richard. He's kept Christian Villanueva busy over there. Already 3 ground balls to third base, and quickly 1 down here in the second inning. He seemed very confident, Bob, after that game the other night in Philadelphia, that he'd be able to fix this pretty quickly. He said he's been through this before in his career.
He has, and he's always very confident. He's so self-aware. He understands his body. He understands his mechanics. And the thing is, he's very honest with himself. There's some pitchers who don't diagnose themselves very good. Clayton is very honest with himself, and he's made the adjustment. And as you said, Jesse, he felt very confident coming into today that he's got this figured out, picking up the target just a little sooner. And so far, it's working out brilliantly.
You can see he's always got that kind of turn towards first base as that busted bat floater ends up in Freddie Galvis's glove. And after a 7-pitch first inning, Richard making quick work of the Mets again here in the second.
Yeah, the Mets struck out 11 times last night, so you're going to see some early swings, and this is an absolute blow-up of Conforto's bat.
Base coach Ruben Amaro Jr. picks up the lumber.
Former GM.
You don't see that move very often.
You don't.
Front office down to the coach's box.
Got a good baseball mind in Ruben Amaro Jr. and glad he is in the game and went to the Red Sox, now with the Mets. Part of Mickey Callaway's staff.
Here's the catcher, Plouffe. First time we're seeing him in this series, and another early swing, 1-1. We did not see Plouffe when the Mets were at Petco back in April. He had a broken left hand that cost him some time. Plouffe played collegiately at Purdue, which is of course located in Clayton Richard's hometown, West Lafayette, Indiana. You ever been to Purdue?
I have not. Beautiful school, I heard.
Pretty good looking pitch. 3-1. And Plouffe with another ground ball. Freddie Galvis, as routine as can be, in another quick inning for Clayton Richard. 1-0 Padres after 2. Light, refreshing finish on this date, 1998. Good year. Trevor Hoffman tied the Major League record by converting his 41st consecutive save opportunity.
Hard to do that against the talent of Moises Alou. Really, Moises Alou was the only mistake Trevor Hoffman made in that 1998 season. It was a first pitch fastball that tied the game with a solo homer.
Austin Hedges leading off, and he fouls the first one straight back. Hedges starting all 3 games of this series, including the scheduled 12-10 start after the night game last night. Off day tomorrow.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm assuming that Austin asked for it in today. You know, obviously Andy has the final say. But with that off day, the way he's swinging the bat.
Strikes out there, and speaking of Trevor Hoffman and consecutive saves, it is part of our daily Trivial Pursuit, our Valley View Casino trivia question. All right, so he tied the record. Who previously held that record? 41 consecutive saves.
I think I have an idea, but I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to spoil it.
No hints, nothing? I'll give a hint after Clayton Richard's at bat, because I have a pretty good idea. It'll be a 1-word hint.
You know what? I'm going to give a hint too.
Oh, okay.
Halloween.
Oh. '41 consecutive saves. I believe Zach Britton now holds that record at 60. Traded last night from the Orioles to the Yankees. Clayton taking all the way, and strikeout number 3 for Oswalt. My clue, 1 word. Mullet.
Mullet.
Yes.
I like that.
That's not my clue.
Okay, so they have 2 clues: mullet and Halloween.
A couple of normal pieces of baseball terminology. Dodgers and Phillies played a wild one last night, and they're right back at it here this afternoon.
That's a tough turnaround.
Yeah. If you missed what happened in last night's game, guys back in the studio will get you all caught up. That was not normal. That's all I'm going to say. No more hints there. Jankowski trying to bunt his way aboard, but right back to the pitcher, Oswalt. Nice job by him. And a 1-2-3, top of the third for Corey Oswalt of Madison High School. Wow.
Uh-oh.
Seen it a couple of times in Padre games already this year. How about Kike, by the way? Not only did he give up the walk-off homer, he went 0 for 7 at the plate in the game.
Yeah, that's not a good night in the big leagues.
I hope he's not in the lineup today. I hope Dave Roberts is letting him at least sit through the first couple of innings in Philadelphia.
Mental rest.
Yeah. Just you did all you could. Take a day. Take a day.
That was Trevor Plouffe's first home run for the Phillies, coming off a position player.
How about that? Clayton Richard stabs it. And another ground ball out for Clayton. He has set down the first 7 Mets to come to bat. And now the number 8 hitter, Jose Reyes, getting a second start of the series with 1 out in the bottom of the 3rd inning. And so far, so good for Clayton.
Yeah, he looks very comfortable. Be careful of the bunt here. Reyes likes that first pitch. He's either aggressive and has the speed to lay that bunt down.
Second start of the series for Reyes. He was at third base on Friday night as well. Went 1 for 4 with that little dribbler of an infield hit that brought home a run in the 6th. He has struggled all season long and fouls this one out of play. 0-2. Second go round with the Mets. He was here 2003 to 2011. Then he was part of that big Marlin free agent class in 2012 when they opened up the new ballpark. Traded to Toronto after that 1 year. The Rockies, and hooking back on with the Mets and playing really a lot more than I think a lot of people would have expected here in New York this season.
Yeah, it raises eyebrows a lot by this fan base.
Still give you that stubborn at bat though. We saw that on Monday night. I think I said Friday night at one point. This is not a weekend. Well, you lose track during the baseball season sometimes.
It's Groundhog's Day.
In the air for Manuel Margot. And he makes the catch. 8 straight. retired by Clayton. All right, we're not going to make you wait too long for the trivia answer. Two hints were mullet and Halloween. Answering our Valley View Casino trivia question, whose record did Trevor Hoffman tie? And of course, break. It was Rodbeck.
No.
Great mullet. I'm talking like, I think top 5 mullet of the era.
He used to just take his right arm and just sway it back and forth.
He was kind of Craig Kimbrell before Craig Kimbrell.
Yeah.
A little bit. Pitcher Oswalt with another ground ball. Christian Villanueva very busy in a perfect first 3 innings for Clayton Richard against the Mets.
I guess the safest thing would be just to stay at second and just like wait. If there's like a close play or something, just wait on the base, I guess. I mean, I really don't know how else to like do that, because like I said, like we're not going to play it through. Nobody's going to play that ball through, especially, you know, with the third baseman standing there. Like my only move would be to like go full speed and like slide into the guy. I'm not going to do that.
That's Carlos Asuaje talking about the confusing situation that he found himself in last night after the out was reportedly made at home. He thought, trying to get himself over to third base, that the final out of the inning was made, and he said, look, what am I supposed to do? Run in full speed into the third baseman and start a fight? He didn't know what to do. So it brings up a great question, Jesse and Sweens, about the ruling, how guys are supposed to be awarded bases on a challenge, and obviously Carlos Asuaje is still a little bit confused about how to handle that situation. Your guys' thoughts on that?
Yeah, it was a weird one for sure, and you know, I think a clarification on rules would do, and there's a hit by pitch. So Carlos is going to reach to open up this 4th inning. I'll say this, you know, Mesoraco didn't take anything for granted. He threw down there. Evans, the third baseman, didn't take anything for granted. You know, he didn't just walk off the field with the baseball. He tagged Asuaje. It's definitely a tricky spot for a base runner.
Well, for Carlos Asuaje, first off, he's not going to run into the guy and slide into him and start a brawl. It's not going to happen, not this day and age. I think if Carlos had to do it over again, he would have stayed at second base. And for Andy Green, the frustration was it really identified as the right decision when it came down to him trying to go and advance to third base. That's his gripe, and I understand it. Just an odd play.
Yeah, it was a weird one. Something you try and learn from and move on. 0-2 on Will Myers, who lined out to right field in his first at bat. Matt Carpenter, of course, leading the National League in slugging percentage here in this month of July. And Will Myers right there with the hottest extra base bats in the National League. A couple of Pirates there, no surprise. They're the hottest team in baseball. That is a surprise. kind of a fun time of year. Trade deadline. Teams trying to figure out if they're buyers or sellers. Big names on the move. Oswalt converted to a pitcher his senior year of high school at James Madison High in San Diego. And really wasn't considered any kind of pitching prospect. He was going to go play at UC Santa Barbara, see what happened. Mets drafted him as a pitcher, which from what I understand surprised some people. Here we are a few years later. Spent a lot of time in the low minors kind of learning how to pitch. Really kind of exploded onto the scene last year at AA Binghamton, and here he is. Great story. 2-2 to Myers. Athletic family. His brother Todd was a wide receiver at Cal Lutheran.
Also John Boggs represents him, which is a guy that we think very highly of in San Diego. Oswalt, you can see getting that 2-strike count, and the put-away pitch is not there today, but right there, the changeup. Very good pitch to Will Myers, just out front. Well, why I mentioned John Boggs is because Tony Gwynn also had him represent him as well. Very respectful agent in the game of baseball.
Hosmer's now hit in all 3 games of this series. He has scored the only run of this game. In the series between these two teams back in April, Hosmer was 5 for 11 against the Mets. Did not see Oswalt, obviously. So DeGrom, Vargas, and Wheeler. Oswalt hit Asuaje to start the inning, and so Carlos on first base with 1 out now. Hosmer in a hitter's count. And now 3-0. Oswalt has a reputation of being a guy who works with really good tempo, especially with the bases empty. But see him slow it down a little bit so far this afternoon. Hosmer swinging on 3-0 and out in front. Oh my goodness.
Uh-oh. The chicken got exposed.
He lost his head. You got the Ozzie Smith Cardinal.
Ozzie's laughing at him.
He had his Tony Gwynn jersey on a few moments ago and his chicken head.
He lost his uni and his head.
It's all falling apart. Asuaje running. It's ball 4 to Hosmer. And the Padres with 2 on, 1 out, and Margot coming to the plate. Talking about big names on the move. Zach Britton, the closer for the Orioles, who now holds that record we were discussing. Consecutive save opportunities converted. And he goes to the back end of what is already a very, very good Yankee bullpen.
Well, you look at Luis Severino and why I mentioned the starting rotation. You have to shorten the game, and they have done that. Zach Britton in his last 8 appearances of velocities back. The command is not exactly where it was before he had the Achilles injury. But the Yankees just got better and more dangerous.
Margot singled in his first at bat. Hits here with a couple of guys on, 1 away.
I think ideally the Yankees would love to get someone in that starting rotation to help Luis Severino. What a year he's having.
Yankees coming to play today 5 games in back of the Red Sox, and Boston adding a piece to their rotation via trade. Like we said, it's not boring in July. Nathan Eovaldi sent from Tampa Bay to the Red Sox, so he gets plopped down into the middle of it's already a pretty formidable group of starters for the Red Sox.
Yeah, former Yankee, so that adds a little more intrigue in that series. The Yankees and the Red Sox.
Popped him up on 1-1. Nimmo, the center fielder, charges in. Osborne back to first, Suaje back to second, and Oswalt needs now only get past Freddie Galvis to work a scoreless fourth.
Well, with Clayton Richard doing what he's doing today, it's imperative to just add on. Give him the luxury of being able to throw any pitch at any time.
Galvis over 300 this year with 2 outs and runners in scoring position. Switch hitter swings to the first pitch and wraps it to deep right field. Bautista on the run, going back, and he makes another great running catch. Boy, he missed one on Friday night, Monday night, and then last night, and again this afternoon. Bautista doing a great job on the run, making the play, and ending the top half of the 4th inning. Fourth inning, he has retired the first 9 Mets to come to bat in order and without much trouble on a Wednesday afternoon here at Citi Field in New York.
Now, Clayton Richard puts a lot of pressure on in-game entertainment in between innings. He's quickening up all day long. Got a good pace working.
Rosario grounded out his first time. 6 ground ball outs the first time through the order for Clayton Richard today. Rosario, one of those ground ball victims, and again, Suaje takes care of him. 1 away. Timeout for tools of the trade, brought to you by Ram Trucks.
Well, for Clayton Richard, early in this game, he established that ground ball. That's a good sign because you know when he's locked in. That command to the glove side, very important, but the infielders are just aware that he's got his stuff today. Be on point, and the defense has been very good behind him. Even Clayton Richard helping himself out.
That's exactly what you want to see from Clayton Richard. Gets about as many ground balls as any pitcher in the game the last couple of years. And that's Clayton Richard at his best. 7 pitches to get through the first inning, 8 to get through the second, 11 to get through the third. That's how he's worked as many innings as he has this year. Near the top of the National League in that department as well. One-two to his dribble. Cabrera is on the corner. Strike three call. First of the afternoon for Clayton Richard. Cabrera 0 for 2.
Well, it looked like Cabrera was looking for something in, and you see the backdoor breaking ball. Perfect pitch for Clayton Richard.
Down the middle for a called strike to Wilmer Flores. I'll give you one guess what he did his first time up. There you go, ground out. This time in the air. Travis Jankowski makes the play, and another quick one for Clayton Richard, who is perfect through 4. Brought to you by Petco, the pet company. By Hyundai. Get a great deal more than a great deal on all new Hyundai vehicles. See your Hyundai dealer today. And by Jerome's Furniture, where Jerry's price is the lowest price every day. He's got his head back.
It's the best.
I'm imagining those two guys sitting in a car driving to Cooperstown together after this one. With the heads on.
Those guys, face painters. I marvel at that because you look in the mirror before you go.
Nice leaping grab by Reyes as Villanueva lines out.
You know these guys are looking in the mirror and saying, yep, that's what I'm going with.
Got it. Nailed it.
Now a hot smash off Villanueva right to Reyes. Yeah, Reyes is saying that was coming in hot with some movement.
Hedges struck out his first time. Oswald misses a little bit low. That's pretty well struck out to deep center field. Nimmo is racing back, and he makes the catch. Austin Hedges touched that one, and Brandon Nimmo made the play. Back-to-back innings with great catches by the Met outfield.
Well, this was timed perfectly. You could see the, they might want to take a look at this one.
Yeah, did it hit the billboard there?
Looked like it ricocheted off that wall.
And if it did, it's a home run. And you know what? They're not even going to look on replay. I think they've given Austin the homer. He knew. So that's a home run for Austin Hedges and a 2-0 Padre lead. And now they're going to look at it. It's a crew chief review. It doesn't require a challenge. But they have changed the call on the field to be a home run. And I think based on what we saw in replay, this should be confirmed pretty quickly.
Well, Brandon Nimmo sold it very well. First, take a look at the swing, Austin Hedges. This was an absolute bullet to left center. And he times his leap, but it looks like it ricochets off that M on M&M's. Touched on that on our open.
So as long as nothing goofy happens here, that'll be home run number 5 for Austin Hedges. He seems fairly confident this thing is going to stay as a homer, as do we. Here you go. So a 2-0 Padre lead now. Nimmo will be nominated for Best Supporting Actor.
He sold,
try, right?
He sold that well.
Sure. Is it award season yet?
Well, if it is, he is definitely going to get a nod.
Clayton struck out looking his first time, and he takes ball 1 from Oswald here. Pretty much whatever happens in this at bat for Clayton Richard will not be as interesting as what is taking place with him on the mound so far this afternoon. He's been perfect.
Yeah, he's been looking very comfortable today. Made some proper adjustments with his bullpen session, as Bob alluded to.
Amazing, all the walks in those last few starts. And just flying through the Mets batting order here today. How about that? A 4-pitch walk. Speaking of walks, better to be on this side than that side for a starting pitcher. Clayton's going to run the bases now as the order turns over for Travis Jankowski. Already the 3rd trip for Travis. Tried to bunt his way on last time. And there's a strike from Oswald. Travis sends that one into right field. Bautista's been making every catch the last couple of days. Not that one, but Richard didn't get a good read, and they force him out at second base. So Clayton kind of waiting to see if Bautista was going to get there. Waited too long. Well, like we said, it matters what he's doing on the mound. At least so far this afternoon. Delayed steal, now a pick throw down, and Jankowski is out. Thinks he's safe. As of this moment, Padres have made a couple of outs at second base, but Andy Green is going to challenge this call down at second base. It was a home run for Austin Hedges after it wasn't. Got a lot of action with the replay officials the last couple of games.
Yeah, for Travis Jankowski, he had a fake break and froze in the middle of first and second. And then he kept on going on as Plouffe throws to first base to Flores. And that's going to be pretty close.
Padres have already had one replay decision go their way here in the top of the fifth inning. Should get a good look at it here.
Watch where he applies the tag up in the bicep area. It looks safe there, and he maintains staying on the bag.
I got him safe. The caveat to that statement is my opinion doesn't matter. What do you know? Across the river in Chelsea, they decided he was out. And so that's how the top of the fifth is going to come to a close. Back to work, bottom of the fifth inning. Padres a 2-0 lead on the Mets here at Citi Field in Flushing, Queens. With Mark Sweeney, Bob Scanlon, our entire Fox Sports San Diego crew. I'm Jesse Agler. Jose Bautista leads off, and he takes strike one from Clayton Richard, who has been locked in all afternoon so far. Working quickly as usual. And now 1-1 from the left-hander. Bautista hard hit, just foul at third base. Probably the loudest contact of the day against Clayton so far.
How close? Whoa.
Not reviewable. Payoff pitch inside, ball four. Bautista becomes first Met base runner. And he does so with a lead walk in the bottom of the fifth inning. All right, as you know, no Padre has ever thrown a no-hitter. As you may also know, the Mets went a very long time without doing so. Didn't get one until 2012. That was the 8,019th game in Met history. So we did the math. Chiron Bob did the math. And if the Padres get their no-hitter in the same game that the Mets did in like the history of their franchise, it'll come early next year. Now, Not to say we wouldn't have a problem with it coming earlier, but if it takes the Padres as long to get one as it did take the Mets, it'll be game number 44 of the 2019 season in which the Padres finally get their no-hitter. So
you're saying the month of May is very important.
Yes, May of next year. Hopefully a home game. Mets had a home game. So there you go. It's simple arithmetic. The Padres will get a no-hitter next May. It's a weird thing. Clayton's already flirted with one this year. That was back in June in Miami. This could be two. And Suaje will take the short out at first base. So Bautista into scoring position with one away. Slowly hit. Conforto runs well. I bet it's ringing off the hook at the ticket office now. Hey, are tickets for next May on sale yet? Plowecki with another ground ball. As Suaje can't get there, it's into center field for a base hit. Bautista will score. No hitter today, and now a 2-1 Padre lead.
See Plowecki working in the middle of the field. An interesting play before that. I thought Carlos Suaje had an opportunity to get Bautista the out at second base, enabling the Mets to have a run-scoring single.
Now this one right back to Richard. Galvis got pulled off, and he was able to get the tag. Nice recovery by Freddie Galvis after Richard's throw was wide, 2 away.
Oh, dangerous play. Watch Galvis. He ends up getting the ball, but it has to revert and get that tag right on the cleat. Gets the out. Very dangerous.
Freddie appears to be okay. He started every game this year. Has played almost every inning all season. So now 2 outs. Nimmo at first base. The number 8 hitter Jose Reyes up. Into left field, a base hit for Reyes.
Now 2 hits for the Mets. You see Reyes really getting inside Reyes's barrel. He floats this to left field for a lazy single.
And that's going to be the end of the afternoon for the starter, Corey Oswalt. Phillip Evans going to pinch hit here for the Mets. Evans got the start at third base last night, went 0 for 3 with a strikeout. So you got one San Diegan hitting for the other, and he lines it over Galvis into left field. Myers is charging. Nimmo is running. Here's the throw to the plate, up the line, not in time. Game is tied 2-2. Pinch hit RBI single for Phillip Evans.
Well, people in North County are excited for La Costa Canyon. Phillip Evans getting that pinch hit single and an RBI. Tying this game.
First long inning of the day for Clayton Richard, who is perfect through 4. The lead walk to Bautista here in the 5th got things started. Mets have tied it, 2 on 2 out for the leadoff man Rosario. He's grounded out a couple of times. Tim Peterson, who we have not seen in this series, Appears that he will be next for the Mets. Runners both go. Hedges throw down to third base. Villanueva couldn't hold it. And a double steal.
Must have seen something in Clayton Richard. Timing aspect, and you see Reyes off and running. That throw is pulled on that third base side, almost the dugout side. Villanueva really not having an opportunity to tag Reyes out.
That one gets away from Hedges, but it rolls up the third base line, and that's fortuitous.
It's interesting, Clayton Richard has worked predominantly all day out of the windup. Now the stretch does not look as comfortable. Always hear it from pitchers that work so well, have that no-hitter through a substantial period of time, then they go to the stretch, and it's a tough adjustment for them to make.
Here's the 1-2 to Rosario, and off the handle into center field. The Mets are going to take the lead. Reyes scores easily. Evans is going to come in right behind him. A 4-run fifth inning, and 4-2 New York.
You see this, the location in off the plate, but the Mets have just been fighting off singles and really scoring a lot of runs. Not smashing the ball all over the yard, but being able to nickel and dime them.
And he got the barrel around on that one. It looked like he was jammed. Rosario sends it into center field. That one gets away from Hedges, and now Rosario into scoring position. It has not been the cleanest afternoon for the Padres. We've had a couple of base running mistakes. Wild pitch there.
You know, the interesting play of this inning, and obviously Clayton Richard has been frustrated as it's gotten quick on him, is the Carlos Asuaje force out at second base. He didn't take that. He took the out at first.
Put Bautista into scoring position.
And just set up a different, a change of the inning. You think about the mindset of Clayton Richard, especially with him working the ground ball all day.
Ground ball double play is always in play with Richard if you got the guy on first base. He didn't. And now ahead of Asdrubal Cabrera, 1-2.
You know, it's a play Michael Conforto, as you talked about, Jesse, was getting down the line. It's hard to double up on a play that's not hit particularly well. But you still have to get that force out.
Rosario takes off for third, and it is popped into left. Myers makes the catch. That ends the fifth, but the Mets get 4, and they take the lead.
Sunday, Mr. Gwynn. Trevor Hoffman, number 600.
Big day coming up on Sunday. It is Trevor's time. And on the broadcast back home in San Diego, moments recapping the life and career of Trevor Hoffman. Mark will be reporting from Cooperstown at Hall of Fame weekend, and a Trevor Hoffman themed broadcast coming up on Sunday. That includes an exclusive interview with number 51 himself.
Jesse, I think the over-under is 3 minutes when he is going to show that he's going to get emotional during his speech. And I'm taking the under.
If you're taking the under, I'm taking the under, as you know him about as well as anybody.
You know, being around Trevor, it's just one of those things that you think about emotionally, and how important everyone else was to Trevor's career, and being able to thank everyone.
Suaje sends that one the other way. Long run Conforto, and that'll be into the seats.
You know, the thoughts of his dad and him passing, but also his mom being here and being inducted into the Hall of Fame. That's the reason why Glenn's going back. It's just so important to have his family and all of his friends to be there for him. It's going to be hard for him to shorten up that speech because there's so many people to thank. Kevin Towers was a huge influence on his career, the late Kevin Towers.
I've asked Trevor a couple times in the last few months about the speech, how it's coming along, and he said he wants bullet points. He doesn't want to read it up there. But like you said, it's going to be a lot about other people.
And you know what Trevor does too, and I've heard him say it. You know, he thinking about it late at night, getting up and writing thoughts down. Get to work with Frank Thomas. He said one of the hardest things is there's so many people to thank. And where do you stop? Where do you keep on going? That's got to be hard for Trevor.
Suaje leading off here against the new pitcher Tim Peterson, and he strikes out. Join the Padres July 28th in celebration of Trevor Hoffman. It's the day before he's inducted into the National Baseball Hall of Fame. That's Saturday night, and all fans will receive a Hoffman number 51 retirement commemorative bobblehead presented by State Farm. Grab your tickets for Saturday night's game against the Diamondbacks at Padres.com. It's a 5:40 first pitch on Saturday. Hoffman bobblehead for all fans. If you're not in Cooperstown, and I know a lot of you will be, hope to see you at Petco this weekend. A little bit outside of Myers. Sorry.
Saw so many people after the game last night that came from San Diego to see the game here and then take the easy trip up to Cooperstown.
You're hopping in the car after this game today.
Yeah, I got my mom and dad in town, which again, them meeting Trevor and being a part of knowing him as a person, it has that connection that I think Trevor has done such a great job with. The community in San Diego and all of baseball.
Myers into shallow left center field. Conforto on the run gets there to make the catch. And Peterson gets the first two here in the top of the 6th inning. The day that it was announced that Trevor was going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, you know, back before spring training, I don't remember if it was January or February. I just remember, you know, they held a little bit of a ceremony press conference in that Hall of Fame plaza at Petco, and the fans who came downtown just to be there for that and to support him, I think, said everything you need to know about what San Diego as a community feels about Trevor Hoffman. It really does go beyond everything he did on the baseball field.
Yeah, I've talked about it a lot too, and as soon as it got announced, immediately I'm saying I have to be there individually, but I also have a 6-year-old son, Gavin, that I'm saying, should I take him? Because this is a moment that you're dying for a Padre fan.
It'll be very, very special. 1-2-3 for Peterson in the top of the 6th inning. 4-2 Mets. 4-2 Mets with the lead. And time now for the San Diego fans of the game. So a chicken and a cardinal walk into a bar.
Chicken's got great hands and a cell phone.
Got the 1984 Tony Gwynn jersey on.
He's got a weird look on his face.
It's been that way all game.
Be great in a staring contest.
You think those are homemade?
No, I think they bought those. I think they went online. Said, give me the cardinal. Give me the chicken.
Wilmer Flores, the only Met who did not come to bat in the 4-run 5th inning against Richard. And the 6th inning begins as the 5th did with a leadoff walk. I mean, it's not the hottest day of the year, but it's warm and it's humid, and he's in that chicken head. It's, can't be comfortable.
It's not air
But now they're
conditioned.
taking pit. Now they're celebrities. Bautista's walk got the trouble started last inning. Came in to score the first Met run.
I wonder if the Cardinal says, I'm Fred Bird to some fans. What do you think?
You know, it's interesting. I don't think it's a Fred Bird costume as much as it's a Cardinal costume. He looks like the logo, not the mascot.
Do you think he's going with it?
I think he looks like the guy on the jersey, not like the actual. I don't know. Why am I trying to get into this guy's head? I gotta stop.
It's hot.
Popped out a play by Bautista. Padres had a 2-0 lead going to the bottom of the 5th inning after the Austin Hedges homer. But the Mets had the big 5th, and now Phil Maton, who set up for Kirby Yates here on Monday night, is warming. Almost said Friday, but it was Monday, the first game of this series.
Jose Bautista with 1 for 9, 5 strikeouts in this series, but it's been his glove that has impacted all games, in my opinion. The error in the first game and on Monday.
Take a look at StatCast, powered by AWS. A lot to the left. That's where Joey's bat takes the baseball. And on 3-2, he hits it in the air to deep center. This one is going to go. Jose Bautista with a no-doubter to left center. And the Mets add on here. 2-run shot in the bottom of the 6th inning. Six to 2 New York.
Almost seemed like he was looking in against Clayton Richard. Was it that glove side command, and it hasn't been the same out of the stretch. That leadoff walk hurt with that home run.
Andy Green out to get his veteran left-hander, and that'll be all for Clayton Richard, who goes 5+ on a rainy afternoon at Citi Field in New York. out after the 2-run homer by Jose Bautista. Mets now with a 6-2 lead on the Padres.
Well, good body of work by Robert Stock last night. Phil Maton getting an opportunity today to lock it in. Very important innings to keep the score as is.
Maton picked up the hold on Monday night in the 3-2 Padre win. That was the first time since the Brad Hand trade that the Padres had, a small lead late in the game, and it was interesting to see how Andy Green used his bullpen. He went to Maton in the 8th, Yates in the 9th. Matt Strom probably wasn't available, but as we've talked about the last couple of days, Andy's late inning options now in front of Kirby Yates probably figure to be some combination of Stammen, Maton, and Matt Strom. Good opportunities for those guys.
It sure is, and identifying roles is a challenge, not only for your manager, but also all of the staff is trying to evaluate certain guys and where they fit, their personalities, but also their stuff.
Maton worked beautifully on Friday night. The first guy he faced was this guy, Conforto, who would ground out, and Maton struck out the other 2 guys that he saw. That was a good start. Working in the 8th inning. And some bright sunshine here for the first time today. Got off to a little bit of a late start because of rain. It's been nice so far. There is more in the forecast later as Conforto strikes out. So Maton has now set down all 4 Mets that he has seen in this series. One away in the bottom of the 6th for the catcher Plouffe.
You get ahead of Michael Conforto. He will expand the strike zone, as you see there, the check swing, and he goes around. Maton has shown excellent secondary stuff of late, both the slider and the curveball.
On the outside corner for a strike, 1-1 of the Met catcher. Talked about Maton's perfect outing on Monday night. His last appearance prior to that, 2 perfect innings on Friday night in Philadelphia. So he's in a nice little groove here. Sky to left field. Myers twisting and turning, and he makes the catch. Well, we talked about the sun being out for the first time today, and good thing Will had the shades. Saturday, one of baseball's best rivalries is renewed as Chris Bryant and the Cubs take on the Cardinals. Coverage begins at 12:30 p.m. Pacific on FS1, or you can stream it live on the Fox Sports app. Matt Carpenter, rather hot.
12 straight extra base hits in a hot stretch.
I wonder if the chicken and the Cardinal will be at Busch.
You would think that they would go and try to represent.
The Cardinal guy, oh gosh.
Hot.
Secrets out. That's why mascots never take their heads off. It doesn't look right. You think they made a deal like, all right, I'll go to the Padre game with you, and we got to go to St. Louis, and you come to the Cardinal game with me.
My first NHL game, I went to an NHL game in Florida. Saw the Tampa Bay Lightning. Get to our seats, and it's a husband and wife, and the husband is in a hockey helmet, and they did not talk the whole game. And it was the strangest thing for me because we were right behind them. He just stone-faced the game the whole time in his hockey helmet. Never came off.
There's a strike to Nimmo, 3-1.
I don't know how you think about that, but I thought it was a little strange.
So he's wearing, now did it have like the full cage? The
full cage. It did, it didn't have his typical design on the hockey helmet. No conversation.
Another chance for Myers. And Will makes the play. Phil Maton with another quick 3 outs for the Mets add on in the 6th. Game summary. Padres had a 1-0 lead going to the 5th, and Austin Hedges doubled that lead. Initially, that was ruled a catch for Brandon Nimmo, the center fielder, but after further review, no, that's a dinger. And for Austin Hedges, his 5th home run of the year. But the Mets came back in the bottom of that inning. Their first hit was an RBI single by Kevin Plouffe. That got New York on the board. A couple of batters later, Ahmed Rosario, a 2-run single. And the Mets took the lead in the 5th inning. Then in the 6th, Jose Bautista with a long home run to left center field. That added 2 more, and it is 6-2 New York, as Manuel Margot leads off here in the top of the 7th inning with a bunt single as the Padres try and rally here against the Met bullpen. That was beautifully done.
Well, we touched on the adjustments he's made with his swing, but this has to come into his game just a little bit more. Manuel Margot letting down a perfect bunt. Watch the execution. Once you drop it down and then drop your head and the speed. Put it in your pocket. Sergeant Peterson.
I can't believe Peterson even threw over there. So down 4, Padres have the leadoff man on in the 7th, and now Galvis tries to bunt, and another good-looking one. Ray is going to let it roll and picks it up just in foul territory. Freddie's been near the top of the National League in bunt hits each of the last couple of years. Yeah, I like the idea. You're down 4. Let's get him on any way you can. Obviously not sacrificing in any way, shape, or form there. He's trying to get on base.
Well, again, slicing this down the line. Jose Reyes plays this well because even if he picks it up, there's no way of getting Galvis at first. It's either going foul or hitting the bag.
So it's just a strike on Galvis. Freddie swinging away this time, misses the fastball, 0-2. That double play back in the 2nd inning brought a run home. Two-strike pitch from Peterson is hit high and deep to right. Bautista going back at the wall, and this one is going to go. Oh, he tried to bunt for a hit. This'll do. This'll do real well. Galvis takes Peterson deep, his 5th of the season, a 2-run shot, and the Padres are right back in this game, 6-4 in the 7th. Time for the top tier play brought to you by Arco.
Well, it really shows the importance of Manny Margot getting on base for Freddie Galvis. 2-strike hitting again by the Padres. Last at bat, Freddie Galvis got robbed by Bautista in right field. This time right center home, slashing that lead in half.
Galvis's first home run since June 15th in Atlanta. Being a wave off the end of the bat, that's foul and out of play. He's behind 0-2. Galvis hit 12 a year ago with the Phillies. As mentioned, that's his 5th of this season.
A productive road trip for Freddie Galvis.
Very much so. 6 for 11 in the Philly series. And now a big home run here. That's a ground ball to Rosario. Waited on that tricky hop, has to hurry, and he got it. That's the first out here at the top of the 7th inning. The home run a moment ago by Galvis, the 2nd of the day by the Padres, because back in the 5th inning, Austin Hedges, he hit one. And at first it looked like Brandon Nimmo, the center fielder, had made the home run robbing catch. He sold it. But you take a closer look, it hit off that M&M advertisement. Eric Hosmer knew it was gone, as did Laz Diaz after chatting with his colleagues in New York City. I've been to that umpire room, you know.
You have?
In Chelsea, yeah.
What'd you think?
It's a very high-tech room. It's pretty cool. There's a base hit to left field. Another one for Austin Hedges. And he was thinking two, and I think wisely slams on the brakes. Nice job by Conforto getting it back in quickly, but Hedges with his second hit in as many at-bats. And with Maton due up here, obviously the Padres will send a pinch hitter to the plate. Down 2 in the 7th inning.
Well, you see the split finger sitting right down the middle of the plate. And Austin Hedges' consistency. Talked about Manuel Margot making adjustments. So has Austin Hedges.
Corey Spangenberg has been introduced as the pinch hitter. He will not get the opportunity to face Tim Peterson. And Mets manager Mickey Callaway has signaled for a pitching change. And so with the Padres rallying here at the top of the 7th inning, New York makes the switch. 6-4 Mets in the 7th. Next Padres baseball brought to you by RCP Block and Rig. Start your outdoor project at rcpblock.com. And by your SoCal Mazda dealers. It has been an eventful afternoon here at Citi Field. Ball flying all over the place. Padres have hit a couple of home runs. Mets have hit one. Tim Peterson relieved here in the top of the 7th inning. After he gave up the 2-run homer to Galvis and the 1-out single to Austin Hedges, and the Mets turn now to Robert Gesellman.
Well, Gesellman has struggled of late, allowing 13 earned runs in the last 13 outings, and including 4 home runs. Long ball has bit him.
Worked a 1-2-3 9th inning in the 3-2 Padre win on Monday night, and he's got pinch hitter Corey Spangenberg up. First one is a fastball for a strike. Corey has 1 pinch hit this year, and it was a home run. Spangenberg coming off the bench for the 2nd time in this 3-game series. We did not see him in last night's game. Selman sent out to protect a 2-run lead, and he falls behind. 2 balls and a strike.
Yeah, the mentality of a pinch hitter coming off in this situation is dead red, looking for that fastball and adjusting to the bad breaking ball. You're just not loose, and you're not into the game as well as everybody else that started the game.
Takes a good look at ball 3.
Well, Corey took that first pitch fastball, and he almost thought that was his only pitch he was going to get. Now he works a good hitter's count.
6 homers, 5 doubles, 2 triples. And a 3-1 pitch is low, ball 4. So the Padres with 2 on and 1 out, top of the order. Travis Jankowski coming up against Gesellman.
Manage your dream team in franchise mode. Plus, get weekly stats, roster updates, and more. RBI Baseball 18 is available now. Learn more at rbigame.com. Rated E for everybody.
Corey Oswald started for the Mets. He allowed 2 runs on 3 hits in 5 innings. And Jankowski showing bunt. Padres have already bunted for 1 hit in this inning. Tried to bunt for another. And luckily for Freddie Galvis, it went foul because a couple pitches later he would homer. In the air to right center field. That's pretty well struck, but center fielder Nimmo will back up to make the play. And 2 down here in the top of the 7th inning.
This copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the San Diego Padres and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. Counter descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the San Diego Padres.
Seen a lot of Padre fans here the last couple of days getting ready for Cooperstown. Trevor Hoffman's induction into the National Baseball Hall of Fame coming up on Sunday. Comeback win here would be a nice start to the celebratory weekend. Pitch inside to Aswahe, 1-0. So have you ever actually been to an induction before?
I have not. It's going to be a first for me. Been to Cooperstown twice. Used to play exhibition games in Cooperstown. And now they don't do that, but it's going to be special. Obviously the Trevor Hoffman induction, but this is a great class. I think the big thing really has a lot to do with Alan Trammell for the Padres. He was a successful coach there, still lives in San Diego. I think a lot of people are so excited for him, but tremendous class going in with number 51, Trevor Hoffman.
You add up all of these numbers for Trevor Hoffman, and it equals Hall of Fame.
Well, the signature pitch, the changeup, a lot of people are going to talk about that. But the consistency for Trevor Hoffman, for me, it was lights out. Game over, whatever you want to say.
Now a 1-2 to Aswahe out in front. Got a piece. That's a foul ball. One of the things I most enjoy hearing from Trevor is his process, or was his process on game day, and how he got himself ready, and how really from almost the moment he woke up thought to himself, all right, what do I need to do to get ready to get those 3 outs at 10 o'clock at night?
Yeah, outworked everybody. Was first to the field, last to leave.
In the air left field. Conforto was shallow. He's got to drift back, and in the wind he's able to make the catch and end the top of the 7th inning. Padres get 2 back.
last year when we traded Brandon Maurer and Ryan Buchter. You know, the guys that are here have to step up, you know, take advantage of the opportunity. Maton, Matt Strom, Robert Stock, Colton Brewer, you know, those guys are, you know, chomping at the bit to get those late inning, high leverage situations. You know, that's what you ask for when you're a player. You either want to be the ace of the staff or the closer, and they're coming for it, and they're doing a great job, and I think that this season they'll prove that.
That's veteran Craig Stammen talking about how the trade of Brad Hand and Adam Cimber has opened up some new opportunities for some of the young arms in the Padres bullpen. Great example is Matt Strom just coming into this game. Late opportunities are not new to him, but he's going to start getting more of them, guys, now that Brad Hand is gone and Adam Cimber is gone. And keep in mind, Strom is a guy that they have not gone back-to-back days yet, but they love what he's been able to do in these late situations.
He is a guy, Bob, that you could see filling a lot of different roles for the Padres over the course of the next couple of years. They certainly seem to still have at least some interest in him potentially as a starter. That's probably something that would be held off on until next spring. But this is a live arm and one they really like.
I tell you what, like the Royals did in years past of changing the mentality of the game as relievers, I think Josh Hader for the Milwaukee Brewers has changed the mindset of that dominating lefty. And I think that's what Andy Green would like to have Matt Strom get to. I think he has the ability. When he locks it in, it's runners in scoring position, 2 for 24. High leverage situations and flourishing in those spots.
Bob mentioned he hasn't gone back-to-back. We last saw him game 1 of the doubleheader Sunday in Philadelphia, and Jankowski at the last moment falls off Corey Spangenberg and makes the catch. That's out number 1 in the bottom of the 7th inning. Spangenberg stays in the game after pinch hitting in the top of the inning. Jeff Mcneil now, who made his major league debut last night. And on the very first pitch he saw in the big leagues, he singled to center field. Not bad. Takes one this time, and it's a strike from Strom, 0-1. He became the 50th different player the Mets have used this year. And that's tied with the Angels for the most in baseball.
Well, it adds to the frustrations, and you understand what the Mets have gone through this year.
Bob downstairs.
Sorry, go ahead.
We were talking about Matt Strom and some of the maybe different roles he's going to be able to fill moving forward.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%, Jesse. And one of the things that was so impressive in his last outing is he comes into the ball game. There's an error made behind him. Then there was that questionable hit by pitch, and yet he came back and pitched over both of those things. Actually came back from a 3-1 count to strike out the next 2 batters. And I think that really shows the intestinal fortitude that this young man has to pitch in these types of roles.
You don't say fortitude enough. It's a good word.
Comes in handy once in a while. I mean, we're talking about Trevor Hoffman. Did anybody have more than him?
There you go. You want your relievers to have fortitude of all kinds, intestinal and otherwise.
Well, so easy to talk about the stuff, and I love this guy, the young loose arm that Matt Strom shows us, and obviously the stuff is there, but what I like about the loose arm is not only that it's explosive here late in games, but I think it could also translate into the rotation as you guys were discussing earlier. So for now, a great role from him. We'll see what he does in the future.
Mcneil grounds that one foul, so this battle continues.
Well, is he best suited for that hybrid role? Is he best suited to lock in high leverage situations as they use Josh Hader in Milwaukee? Or is he best suited moving forward in that rotation? That's what they have to determine.
It's a big decision. You know, it really is. I mean, you've seen guys really come alive, as you said, Hader, Andrew Miller, Brad Hand, former starters who embrace that role and really turn themselves into all-stars, quite literally. And then there's other guys, sometimes they bounce back and forth. That can lead to some of their struggles.
Well, Jesse, there's an element, too, that you have to have. And I think Matt Strom has this. He'll say, I'll pitch in any situation you want. And there's not a lot of guys that do that. They'll say it. But when it comes down to Matt Strom, he believes in it. Brad Hand believed in it. You have to have those guys that will take those roles. They're not worried about setting up numbers where you get holds, you get more salary because you're putting up those type of numbers. That to me made Brad Hand very attractable.
Mcneil battling here. Strom acquired last summer. Came over from Kansas City in that trade that's in Mauer and Buchter. Kansas City. Trevor Cahill. He's from West Fargo, North Dakota. And Mcneil's got a perfect on base percentage in his big league career. Pinch single last night on the first pitch. This time he works a long AB and comes up with a 1-out walk against Strom. You been to West Fargo, North Dakota?
Well, my wife's from North Dakota.
Really?
Up there, yes. But I have not been to that part where Matt Strom is from.
Are they North Dakotans? Is that the word?
Yes.
Okay. Top of the order, Rosario. He had one of the big hits in this game for the Mets. 2-run single in the 4-run fifth. Clayton Richard was really cruising this afternoon. 4 perfect innings and a lead walk to Bautista in the 5th inning, and a series of unfortunate events followed. Mets would add 2 in the 6th on the Bautista homer, but the Padres have fought back a little bit, and Strom trying to keep this a 2-run game in the bottom of the 7th inning. All the way to the backstop, and Mcneil will advance easily to second base.
A changeup that gets out of the way, going over the glove of Austin Hedges.
Fights that one off. Now 2-2 from Strom. Mets trying to win their first series since May. Padres took game 1 Monday night. New York won it here last night, and now day baseball after a brief rain delay at the start, and a 2-run lead for New York. Here's the payoff pitch, and he got him. Rosario strikes out. Big second out for Matt Strom here in the bottom of the 7th inning.
Now better changeup here. You can see the arm action and the release exposing Rosario out of the strike zone. Have to maintain that arm speed.
As Drupal Cabrera off of Strom, Matt picks it up, and the inning is over. Matt Strom does what Matt Strom needed to do. He keeps this a 2-run game. Very nice. Look forward to all of that. And yeah, a lot of potential moving pieces for the Mets, certainly. And Scott just said it. It's kind of figure it out at the back end right now for Mickey Callaway. And you got Anthony Swarzak here working in the 8th inning of a 2-run game against the heart of the Padre order, and he has really struggled as of late.
Yeah, a guy that's trying to find himself. Saw the 10 walks and only 16+ innings. The Padres just trying to come back here. Has a lot to do with that first hitter. Hopefully Myers can get on base.
Fastball strike to Myers, 1-1. Will has really been swinging a good bat. You see 4 for 11 in the series, and that includes an 0 for 3 here this afternoon. Drove in all 3 Padre runs in last night's game. And he takes the fastball just a bit inside from Swarzak. 2 balls and a strike. Padres and Mets meeting up for the final time here in 2018. Mets took 2 out of 3 at Petco back in April. Padres trying to return the favor at Citi Field. They'll need to come from behind in the late innings. Talked about Swarzak's struggles. His last 5 games, his ERA is about 24. And now a 3-2 count. Last 5 appearances, he has managed to go only 2 2/3 innings. That means he's only gotten outs, you know, worth of 2 2/3, and he's allowed 7 runs in that time. Payoff pitch to Myers, swing and a miss. He got the fastball past him, and Will strikes out, 1 away in the top of the 8th inning. So they trade Familia, but it's not just that has depleted this Mets roster. They have been beat up all season long injury-wise. Talked about Syndergaard with a hand, foot, mouth. He's on the DL. Jay Bruce, who we saw in April, on the DL. Cespedes is having that heel surgery that's going to keep him out. They say at least 8 to 10 months. We saw Todd Frazier back in April. He's on the DL. Travis d'Arnaud had Tommy John surgery, and on it goes. Hosmer first pitch swinging and into center. Nimmo makes the play. 2 down here in the 8th. I mean, every team has injuries. We know that. Padres have been through it. Myers has missed a huge chunk this year. But it's amazing. You look back at that series the Padres had in April. It's like a totally different lineup now that the Mets have. And, hey, it's even affected their minor league teams. The Double-A Binghamton Rumble Pony, Tim Tebow, broke his hamate bone the other day, and now he is done for the rest of the season.
Did you just say Rumble Pony?
That's the mascot. That's right. That Tim Tebow, a Double-A New York Met.
Double-A All-Star.
He's got a fan. At least one. Margot takes strike 2.
I think a lot of people around here, because of the way the Mets season has gone, were thinking Tim Tebow might be up here in September. I think when they signed Tim Tebow, you were wondering, is this a gimmick? What's going on here?
Couple of hits today for Manuel. Yeah, you're right. I mean, they took a lot of heat even when they brought him in, and then when they brought him to big league camp in spring training this year. And it does look like a publicity stunt.
Well, they signed him. Then you see the jerseys,
yeah,
and they're going off the racks because people are buying them. So I can understand that point of view. You're wondering if he was indeed going to come up in September and be that type of draw. Is he going to be a draw? Probably not.
He was a big draw in the South Atlantic League last year. Manuel swings and misses, and the struggling Anthony Swarzak comes in and works a 1-2-3-8 with a couple of Ks. afternoon, day off tomorrow, and then open up a 3-game weekend series against the Diamondbacks. Zach Greinke will start Friday night against Luis Perdomo. Let's see, last 7 starts, 6-0 and a 1.57 earned run average. Greinke's in good form. How about that? There's my analysis for you.
He's been excellent. And Paul Goldschmidt, 144 in the month of May. That coincided with A.J. Pollock's injury going to the disabled list, so they were scared of what was going to happen with Paul Goldschmidt. He has righted the ship since June 1st.
Arizona right in the thick of it in the National League West. Half game in back of the Dodgers coming into play today. And again, they'll be at Petco all weekend long as we celebrate Trevor Hoffman. Craig Stammen on, and he delivers a first pitch fastball for a strike to Wilmer Flores. Quickly, 0-2. Stammen really did yeoman's work on Monday night in the Padre victory. After Joey Lucchesi came out, Stammen gave an inning and 2/3 of scoreless relief. That bridged the gap to Maton and Kirby Yates in the 8th and the 9th. And here, just a little bit outside, 1-2.
I remember Jose Reyes had that swinging bunt, allowing a run to score with Craig Stammen, but other than that, he was very good.
Two balls and 2 strikes to Wilmer Flores.
And what you got to love about Craig Stammen, those inherited runners, I think that's the stat that I think a lot of relievers have. Drives him crazy. And those inherited runners score. Nothing can do on that swinging bunt by Reyes.
That one's popped up. And Corey Spangenberg. You see the wind really moving that thing around. He's able to stick with it and make the play. So 1 down at the bottom of the 8th. Time now for our Carl's Jr. star of the game, Joey Bats. Jose Bautista with his 8th home run of the season, a 2-run shot back in the 6th inning. That ended Clayton Richard's afternoon. And that was a big hit in this game. That was a big hit for Bautista, too. He had been like 8 for his last 46. Hardly any extra base hits. And I'm sure the Mets hope this is the start of a little run for him.
Well, you know what? After the error on Monday, which was a really bad error for the Mets, he's had some defensive plays that made a difference. And today, robbing Freddie Galvis.
That's a great point. Huge error on Monday night. And since then, doing good things for the Mets defensively and now at the plate as well. Big swing and a miss, 0-2. I think he may have been trying to hit another home run there.
He wasn't trying to get him over.
The 0-2 from Stammen comes in.
Well, Craig likes to go to that mini slider, almost a cutting action down and away to righties in this situation.
Laid off it. Mentioned Diamondbacks over the weekend. They had the Giants Monday night and Tuesday afternoon. And then right back on the road. Here's the 2-2 to Bautista. And he muscles it in the air down the left field line. Will Myers? No, he will not. You see again the wind really impacting the flight of the balls in the air right now. Right on cue. Tried to check his swing, and he did. So now full count, 3 balls and 2 strikes on Bautista. He's already walked once, and that kind of got the trouble started for Craig Stammen back in the 5th inning. Got him. Let's revisit our keys to the game, brought to you by your San Diego Honda dealers.
Well, Cabrera came in against Clayton Richard, 8 for 16 with 5 doubles, 4 RBIs, and he did a nice job against him today. I thought his first beginning of his start was excellent. Then the wheels came off, and make it 18 for the Mets. They've lost 17 consecutive series. Padres have to come back in this one. Still have that opportunity.
Galvis, Villanueva, and Hedges, the scheduled hitters in the top of the 9th inning. And 2 of those 3 guys have homered in the game here this afternoon. Hedges a solo shot in the 5th inning, and Galvis a 2-run homer in the 7th. Here's Conforto, who's 0 for 3 with a strikeout. Very productive road trip for Freddie Galvis. Struggling Anthony Swarzak worked 1-2-3 top of the 8th inning. There's nobody throwing in the Met bullpen, so it looks like he'll be asked to get the 6-out save. Mentioned Jerry's Familia traded to the A's, the Mets closer, a free agent at the end of the season. Conforto fouls it off at the plate. West Coast guy from Seattle, played at Oregon State. Dad was a linebacker at Penn State. His mom, gold medal in the Olympics. Synchronized swimming. Here's the 2-2 from Stammen, and he got him on the inside corner. Strike 3 called. Couple of Ks in a 1-2-3, bottom of the 8th for Craig. Here come the Padres in the 9th. The game. Padres with a couple of long balls in this one. Austin Hedges, a replay aided solo shot in the 5th inning. Originally ruled a catch by Brandon Nimmo out at center field. And then Freddie Galvis, a couple of innings later, a 2-run shot. That got the Padres back in this game, and they'll come into this 9th inning down 2 with both of those guys coming to bat here against Anthony Swarzak. Galvis going to lead it off, then Christian Villanueva, who's got pretty good power in his own right, and Austin Hedges due to hit 3rd here in the 9th.
Yeah, Christian Villanueva, 19 home runs on the year.
Oh, we told you in the bottom of the last inning nobody was throwing for the Mets, and I personally found that a little bit interesting. And now there is action as Paul Sewald is up there, San Diego guy, USD, and you just had the catcher Plouffe out on the mound wasting some time. Perhaps the Mets got a little bit of a late decision there to get somebody up, and just trying to waste a little bit of extra time here at the start of the 9th inning. Nothing in 2. So Galvis with the 2-run homers last time is officially 1 for 3. He hit the ball really well back in the 4th inning, and Bautista went back and took one away from him, as he did in the 2nd inning of last night's game. Swings and misses though, and a 3-pitch strikeout for Anthony Swarzak, who has K'd 3 of the 4 men that he's faced, 1 away in the 9th.
Well, it's been a lot to do with the walks for Swarzak, and you can see that slider tying up Freddie Galvis on the inside part of the plate.
Swarzak looking for his 2nd save of the year. It would be only his 4th in the big leagues, and Villanueva strokes the first one into left field. That's a base hit. Padres are going to get the tying run to the plate here in the top of the 9th. Austin Hedges is 2 for 3. Home run in the 5th inning, his 5th of the year. Once before, he has hit more than 1 home run in a game. That was last July, just before the All-Star break at Philadelphia. He would also in that game bring home the decisive run with a 9th inning sacrifice fly. Does he have more 9th inning drama in his bat here? Maybe not. Rosario backhand, that's 1, and that's all they'll get. Padres down to their final out here in the 9th inning.
A pretty nice play by Rosario. He has to go to his right, but it's the awkward throw going to second base. Had to throw across his body for the force out. Now going to your right, and you would think he'd take that out at first base with Hedges. Goes the short way to second base.
So we left up to Corey Spangenberg. He pinch hit back in the 7th inning, and as you see, drew a walk. Stayed in the game to play second base. Spangenberg's one of those guys. He's got sneaky pop in his back. Swarzak, I'm sure, aware of that.
Yeah, this scenario, you got to cover velocity because you see the 95 on that fastball, but the slider has been good for Swarzak. Looks like they're going fastball in.
It's the outside part of the plate. And now 1-2.
Hot.
in the air, shallow left. In comes Conforto, and he makes the catch, and the ball game is over. Anthony Swarzak comes on and works a 6-out save as the Mets win a series for the first time since mid-May. Final score here this afternoon, 6-4 New York. Padres Live is next. Mike Pomerantz, what have you got?